The new Call of the Wilds expansion brought one of the most interesting weapons for healers, the Flail. The weapon is very fun to use, but it is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. The healing on it is lackluster, but what it does bring instead of healing is insane utility. This utility comes in the form of Fortify, Empower, CC immunity, and more. Now in today's video, I am going to show you all the best Flail build to use in open world PvP, 3v3s, and Outpost Rush. This build is best paired with friends or company members to play off of, as you can set up some nasty one-shot combos for them. Now with that being said, welcome all of you new players to New World. My name is Baboon Banana 99, the #1 multi-class healer of New World. Let's get right into the video. Alright, so the best perks to take for the Flail Healer build is of course going to be Health and Enchanted Ward. Health and Enchanted Ward are currently the best in slot perks to take in light armor. You can get any of these pieces here from the faction vendors. So let's check our map here. Let's go to any of the towns here, the main hubs. We're going to go to Everfall, and the way you get these faction pieces with Health, Enchanted Ward, Refreshing is going to be you have to max out your faction rank, and once you max out your faction rank, you want to head to any of your faction vendors in the main hubs. For example, I am green, which is Marauder. I would go to Marauder Commander here, pick out the pieces that I want, and get these perks here. Health, Enchanted Ward, Refreshing, do not forget that. And the artifact that I chose is going to be the attuned leather pants. There's a few options you can take, but I think currently right now this is going to be the best one. The other option that you can take is going to be the Featherweight, and this is going to increase your armor about 35%, I believe. I'll link the video down in the description and the comments below explaining the math behind the Featherweight armor increase. Pretty much the Featherweight will make your chest armorless, which allows you to wear 2 heavy pieces in your light armor set without going to medium or heavy. But on the flip side, you do get more stats with attuned leather pants, and I don't have them currently upgraded, but I believe you can also get Refreshing Elemental Aversion, and you can input health as the 3rd perk here, which I think outweighs anything that Featherweight can provide. I don't think it's quite that good, but there is another option you can take as well, which is going to be the medium chest piece. I don't currently have this piece, so I'm going to link it up in this screen below here, and this chest piece is going to increase your max cooldowns by 8 to 10%. I can't remember the exact number, but like I said, it's on the screen here. Quickly swapping over to the New World database.info, we are looking at one of 2 options for the Lifestaff that we can currently farm in the game. The first option is going to be the Azoth Crystal Lifestaff with Blessed Purifying Breeze. The 3rd perk you can craft at the Gypsum Kiln, and the 3rd perk that you want to get is Refreshing Divine's Embrace. This is going to decrease the cooldown of Divine's Embrace when you heal a target below 50% health by 73%, which pretty much means you can chain cast your Divine's Embraces. You can farm this Lifestaff at any mutation 2+ dungeon. Currently, I believe in the game, the mutation that is out is the new one, and I think that's called the Savage Divide. I believe it is Savage Divide. Yes, okay, so it's going to be in Savage Divide in Mutation 2. Once you go into Mutation 2, the Azoth Crystal Lifestaff has a chance to drop, and you can put Refreshing Divine's Embrace on the weapon. Now, the second option that you can farm is going to be the Life Well Channeler. This is personally the Lifestaff that I plan on using. It is going to be Blessed Refreshing Divine's Embrace, and you can craft the 3rd perk of your choice. The 3rd perk of my choice that I plan on crafting is probably either going to be Purifying Breeze, or we can find where's it at here, Refreshing Move. Refreshing Move is also a great option for the healers out there that like to run Beacon. If you do run Purifying Breeze on your Lifestaff, it's because you run Splash of Light. So the way you can get this is going to be going into the Gardens of Genesis dungeon to farm Taxodius. Taxodius is a really early on boss in the dungeon, and this Lifestaff has been dropping like candy. Okay, so quickly talking about the Flail, there's really not much options besides Odo. Okay, the best Flail perks to take is going to be Blessed and Refreshing Move, and the only way to get Blessed on your Odo is going to be by first obtaining Odo, which we will go to right now. And the way you obtain Odo is going to be at the Dredge Landing, so it's going to be on the bottom right of Elysian Wilds at this flight point here called High Mounds Rest. We're going to teleport there. Once we arrive at High Mounds Rest, we want to come up these mountains here to get to the boss that drops Odo. It's been a while since I farmed this boss. I farmed it on the first day, so I might have forgotten the loop, but you pretty much just want to go up these mountains here. All right, so after making it up to this spot here up the hill, the boss that you need to farm is going to be down here, right through this little hole. I believe his name is going to be Vanish. Let's check here. And once you go down this hole, everybody should be farming this. You want to farm this as soon as possible. The respawn on this boss is going to be 6 minutes, but once you get this Odo, you can finally start doing the quests to unlock every single perk on it. For the jewelry, I wouldn't really stress on getting anything that's best in slot right now. Just use what you have in PvP and enjoy yourself. Right now, there's really not a lot of people with BIS to really tell you what is good to take, so I would not really trust anybody until it's really more set in stone. In the next few days, I do plan on releasing a fully fleshed out Lifestaff guide for season 3 for all of the new and returning players, so make sure you stay up to date for that. And of course, for the Heartrune, you just want to get the stalwart Heartrune of Stone form. It is going to heal you for 75% Heartrune damage per second while active, which is going to make you just that much more tankier. All right, let's get into the juicy stuff here. We have the attributes and the build tree. First off, let's talk about the constitution. We want to have no more and no less than 200 con. 200 con is going to be the staple amount of constitution to take with your healer build. And for the other stats, we have a few different variations to take. One variation of stats is going to be 200 con and the rest focus. This is going to make your Lifestaff heal as much as possible, as well as your Flail. But we can also be a little more aggressive with this build, and we can take, once again, 200 con, but we can also stack up on strength. Okay, so if we're playing with a bunch of our teammates and our teammates are running Ankh, which is a new artifact for DPS, tank, and other players, it is going to make them take 50% increased healing. Okay, so if we're running low amounts of focus, our focus heals are still going to be really strong. So with a teammate running Ankh in their amulet slot, it is going to allow us to play a little bit more aggressive by taking more strength. So by taking 100 strength, you are getting 5% light attack damage, 10% heavy attack damage, and 10% physical damage for your Flail. Now with this build, it's going to be played with a high DPS duo or trio in 3v3s in arena and open world. So I would not recommend this setup unless you have a trusty handy duo with you. So this is a pretty uncommon build that I think might be the best in slot Flail build. It might look a little sketchy to you players that have been playing with the Better Together perk, but let me explain myself and tell you why this is currently really bad. So first of all, 16% weapon damage every 3 seconds. That is pretty much about 5.3% healing every second. And if you think about it that way in terms of seconds instead of every 3 seconds, this perk is straight garbage. Okay, let's go back to the Lifestaff here. The Better Together perk was 16% weapon damage, healing every 3 seconds. Beacon, on the other hand, is 16% weapon damage each second for 10 seconds. Okay, so the difference here is that the Better Together perk on the Flail is every 3 seconds and Beacon is every second. Now, considering that we are not going to be in our Flail to get use out of Better Together that much, I think the better option here is going to be Human Shield to protect our allies. So pretty much how Human Shield works is if you hit a target with an ability next to your teammate, you are going to link with your teammate, and when your teammate takes damage, that incoming damage on your teammate is going to be redirected to you. So your teammate is going to be way more tanky, but you are going to be a little bit more squishy on the downside, which is completely fine. You have enough heals to keep yourself up. The main abilities we are going to be taking is Trip, Barrage, and Arcane Vortex. So let's give a little background on these abilities. So Barrage is going to be your main escape or gap closer. It is going to jump and stagger them if you hit them in that purple circle. The next perk is going to be Trip. So this is going to be your main CC and damage ability. So when you trip somebody, you're going to press left click and it's going to do a little bash of damage. And the third perk is going to be Arcane Vortex. So this one is really neat because Arcane Vortex actually heals your allies. So this is going to be one of your main heals, and it also cleanses them of crowd control status effects, such as roots, stuns, and slows. And they are immune for up to 5 seconds, depending on how much focus you are spec'd into. So this is Arcane Vortex here. And after the last hit of Arcane Vortex, you are going to get 2 buffs, which gives your team Empower as well as that CC immunity. The Empower comes from, I believe, the actual just perk itself. It's not any one of these 3 perks here. So with those 3 abilities covered, let's talk about some of the passives here. We have Oppressive Advantage. This is pretty much going to make you a little bit more tanky because you are going to be healed a lot more if you hit someone below half. This is going to be your CDR. It's just kind of like a refreshing move. Every time you hit a target, there is going to be a 1% CDR to all of your abilities, and this has a 1 second cooldown. We also have Happy Flails here. Hitting a target with a basic attack within 3 seconds is going to inflict exhaust. We also have Leader of the Pack here, which is going to increase our teammates' damage by 5%. Some of the other important perks is going to be Vital Suppressant. We are pretty much 4% more tankier, and Reinforced Vitality. Your max health is increased by 25% of your physical armor rating. Do not get baited by this. It may seem like a lot, but since this is based off your physical armor, we are in light armor. 25% of 1000, which is about like 250, you are only getting 250 HP, which really is not that much. Now for the Lifestaff build, we just have our standard group healer beacon build. It has a few different talents changed from your other normal setups, but all you need to really know is that Sacred Ground, Beacon, and Divine's Embrace are going to be your heals. You want to cast Sacred Ground, you want to cast Beacon, and you want to fight in those little green circles that you cast. Let me show you guys here. So you want to cast your Beacon, Sacred Ground, and you want your team to be playing in these circles at all times. Let's check why. So if we're playing in our circles in our Sacred Ground, then all of our heals inside the Sacred Ground are going to be healing for 50% more. So this works with Beacon, this works with Divine's Embrace, and this works with our Flail abilities. Okay, so we got most of the big juicy stuff out of the way. Let's get into the gameplay videos now. So this is going to be a bunch of the day one clips that I got with my friend Dorian. Let's check out some of the combos that we did together, and let me show you just the power of this weapon. Okay, baby, when you are paired with a duo, this weapon is unstoppable, my friends. Okay, all right, that's about it for me. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the rest of this gameplay video to kind of get a vibe of how the build is played. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't forget to leave it down in the comments below, and as always, peace, baby.